Hello guys, this is Rakesh, and in this video we'll be understanding an important topic in algebra, and that is quadratic equation. So before I introduce what is quadratic equation, it is very important that you should have gone through the previous videos in algebra, like the videos on polynomials, the videos on algebraic expression, and of course you must have gone through the pair of linear equations, right? Linear equation in one variable and linear equation in two variable. These four videos is a must before you attend this particular session, right? Now, what is quadratic equation? We'll come to that in some time. Let us try to understand that if a word problem is given and we have been asked to convert that word problem into a mathematical format, that is in an equation format, then how we proceed. We have already done it in a pair of linear equation and linear equation in one variable. We'll be applying the same logic here, and let's see what do I get. So I have taken an example here. We'll not be solving it immediately. That means, I mean to say that we are not interested in the solution of it. We are interested in that, can we frame the equation? Because that is the most important thing, as I said in the previous videos also. So this is an equation. This is a question. Let's read it and try to interpret it. It says that there is a cottage industry that produces a certain number of toys in a day. The cost of production of each toy was found to be 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day, right? So here I'm getting two different kind of unknown. What are the unknowns? The first is that how many toys are produced in a day, right? And the second is cost of each toy. Both is unknown. Their relationships are given, but both is unknown, right? Further, it says that on a particular day, the total number of total cost of production was there. This is the total cost of production. Now, what will be the total cost of production? The total cost of production in that particular day would be what? The number of toys multiplied by the cost, right? Because suppose each toy costs say 10 rupees and we have produced say 100 toys. Then the total cost would be what? 10 for each 100. 10 for each of those 100. So it will be what? 10 into 100 will make it 1000. This will be the cost, right? So here we are multiplying the cost and we are multiplying the number of toys, right? So of course, this is not the exact value of cost and the number of toys. I'm just removing it. But we have understood that their relationship would be multiplication. The total cost of production would be cost per toy multiplied by number of toys. Now, neither we have clear idea about the cost of production, nor we have clear idea about the number of toys. Their relationship is given. So two things are unknown. So let me assume that the number of toys is X and the cost of production of each toy is Y. Right? Now, if I read this, it says that the cost of production of each toy, that means Y is equal to what? Found to be 55 minus the number of cost of production. What is the cost of production in a day? Minus the number of toys produced in a day. So what is the number of toys produced in a day? That is X minus 55. This is the relation which is linear in nature, right? So we are getting a linear equation. Next thing is that since there are two variables, so of course there must be another condition. So that condition is what? The total cost of production. Now total cost of production would be what? Price per cost multiplied by the number of toys. That is the total cost, and that is equal to 750. And this is my equation number 2. This is not a linear equation, right? This is second one is not a linear equation. The first one is a linear equation. So we are finding it slightly difficult to comprehend the second one, but let's proceed. We know that we have a method of elimination and we have a method of substitution. Let us take the help of method of substitution. Now, if I take that substitution method, then we can clearly substitute the value of y as x minus 55 in the second equation. So let's see what do I get. I'll be getting x minus 55 multiplied by x, and that is equal to 750. Let us open the bracket. So x will be multiplied with x. So here I'll be getting it x square, right? And 55 will be multiplied by x. In fact, minus 55 will be multiplied by x. So it will be minus 55x. And let us bring this thing on the RHS simultaneously. So I'll be getting 750. That is equal to 0. So this is what I'm getting. This is, of course, not a linear equation for sure, right? But this algebraic expression is, we are familiar about it, right? This is something like a polynomial with degree 2, right? I'm just taking x square minus 55x minus of 750, right? If I'm assuming it to be some polynomial, then we can say that here the degree is equal to 2. What is the degree? Degree is the highest power of the variable. Highest power of the variable is what? 2. Correct? If this polynomial is equated to 0, right? I repeat, if this polynomial is equated to 0, what kind of polynomial? Polynomial with degree 2 is equated to 0, then such kind of equation, because once it's equated to 0, it's now become an equation, and such kind of equation is called quadratic equation, right? So I hope now you have understood what is the connection between polynomial and how polynomials are different than equation, and what kind of equation polynomial equations are called quadratic equation. The polynomial equation whose degree is 2 is called quadratic equation, right? So this is quadratic equation. So in general, the quadratic equations are in this format: ax square plus bx plus c. There will be polynomial of degree 2, and that will be equated to 0. So this equation becomes quadratic equation. Now to ensure that this is a quadratic equation, I'm taking a, b, and c. They are some constant values. This is a generic format of quadratic equation. So to ensure that this will remain a quadratic equation, I have to ensure that the degree of the highest power of x should remain 2. For that, it is compulsory that a should not be equal to 0. Otherwise, what will happen is that this particular term will vanish and we are left with only this term. So it will be a linear equation of one variable. But we want to make it remain quadratic equation. For that, the coefficient of x square should or must not be equal to 0. B and C can be equal to 0. They can. But a cannot be equal to 0 because we need degree 2. Right? So this is a format of quadratic equation, correct? So let us take a small quadratic equation and try to figure out what will be the solution for x. Say I'm taking x square minus 3 of x plus of 2, and this is equal to 0, right? How do I get the value of x? Three methods. One, of course, is hit and try. Let's try hit and try. The coefficients are very much elementary or easy, 3, 2, minus 3 kind of thing. So what we'll try to do is that let us try to figure out some values which are very close to 2, 3 something. Let us try, is x is equal to 0 satisfying this equation? Now what do I mean by satisfying this equation? The LHS must become 0. LHS should be equal to RHS. Here RHS is 0. So LHS should also become 0. Then only we can say that that value of x is the solution. Now, if x is equal to 0, I substitute on the LHS, we get this value as 2 because the first two terms will get vanished, will be left with 2. So 2 is not equal to 0. So we can say that x equal to 0 is not the solution. Can we try some other? Let's try. If x is equal to 1, then the value of LHS would be what? This will be 1 square, which will be 1. Minus 3 into 1 will be minus 3 plus of 2. So here we are getting it 0. So we have identified the solution, as you can see, right? Of course, this is a very elementary quadratic equation, but yes, by hidden trial also, we have identified one of the solution. Can there be more solution? Let's see. If I take the value of x to be 2, then the LHS would be equal to what? 2 square minus 3 into 2 plus of 2, correct? So here it would be 4 minus 6 plus of 2. Again, surprisingly, you will see that this is also equal to 0. So this is also a solution. So there are two solutions. Can there be more? We can try this method. We can continue this method. We'll try, but you will be finding that there will be no more solution for this quadratic equation. Now, why I'm saying so? Because for quadratic equation, the max solution would be equal to its degree, which is equal to 2. What is the degree of this equation? 2. So there are maximum 2 solutions possible, not more than that. This is the maximum, right? Not every time you'll be getting 2 solutions, but this is the maximum. And that maximum value we have already identified. The roots are 1 and 2 respectively. What this roots means, I have used the word roots. Roots means what? This is the value of x for which this equation will satisfy. Satisfying the equation means what? The LHS will become 0, right? We can cross check. In fact, we have just done the same thing, right? We can put the value of x is equal to 1 or 2. In both the cases, we are getting LHS equal to 0, which is equal to RHS, right? So when I say solution, I simply means I want to find the roots in terms of quadratic equation. So from hence, when I say solution or roots, both have the same meaning, correct? So this is quadratic equation. This is one way of solving quadratic equation. Of course, this is not the best way, right? It is the worst way of solving the quadratic equation because not every time the equation will be simple, right? And we are going for a competitive exam, so obviously equation would be a slightly complicated. So this method is not going to help us. Is there another method? Yes, there is one more method which is very, very important. So let's see. What is that method? That method is known as uh, splitting middle term. You must have heard this uh, phrase in school days when you were oriented or introduced with the quadratic equation. Now, what is this splitting middle term, right? It's splitting, not splitting, splitting middle term. So it says that, let us take example. It says that x square minus 3x plus 2 equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation, right? Here, this equation is formed by three terms. X square is the first term. This is the second term. Minus 3x is the second term. And 2 is the last term. This second term is called the middle term. This second one is called the middle term. Or we can say that the term including only x is called the middle term, right? Now, we have to split it. Split in the sense we have to break it. But in what format? We have to break it. We have to break middle term such that, first of all, let us understand what do I mean by breaking this middle term. Here the middle term is minus 3x. I have to break it into two parts. Both will have x in it such that their summation should become minus 3x. For example, I can take one value to be say minus 2x and the other can be plus of 5x. Right? This is one way of breaking minus 3x because if I add, sorry, I have done it. I have made the mistake. I take it 2x and minus 5 of x. In this case, you can see that if I add them, I'll be getting minus 3x, right? There are several ways. I can take x and minus 4x also, right? Yes or no? Or I can take 3 of x, say, what should I do? I can take minus of x and minus of 2x as well. In this case also, if I add them, I'll be getting minus 3 of x. But in what pair or which pair we have to break or which pair will be useful? We have to break the middle term such that the product of the first term and the last term. This is the first term and this is the last term, right? We have to break it in such that the product of the terms in which we are breaking, that should be equal to the product of the first term and the last term. So the first term is x square and the last term is 2. Clearly, it is equal to 2x square. We can see that this pair and this pair is not giving us the product as 2x square. We are getting it as minus x and minus 2x, right? So this we do just by observation because again, the terms are simple usually. Then only we apply this method. And this is far better than the earlier one wherein we are doing hit and try, correct? Once we have done this, what we do is that we break the middle term. So once we have identified that in this way we have to break the middle term, then we write this minus 3x as minus of x minus of 2 of x, correct? There's some plus of 2, this is equal to 0. Now further, we'll try to make something which is common. Is there anything common between them? Yes, x is common. So what we'll do is that we'll take x as common. So I'm taking x out of it. To get x square, I should have x here. So that x is multiplied with x, I'll be getting x square. So this is taken care. Now to get minus x, I should be having minus 1 here. So that x when multiplied with minus 1, I should be getting minus x, right? Similarly, here also, we must be getting x minus 1. We have to write it for sure. Then you have to identify that what should I write here so that I should be getting this. Clearly, by observation, we can see that I should be taking minus 2. This is simple by observation. That should be equal to 0. Now again, this term and this term, there is x minus 1 common. So we can do the same logic, apply the same logic and take x minus 1 as common. So again, we can take x minus 1 as common. So we are left with x then minus 2, and this is equal to 0. This is how we are factorizing the quadratic equation. We also know that what is factor, right? Now, once we have factorized, we know that LHS has to be equal to 0. It's quite simple. If I'm multiplying two number A and B, and that is equal to 0, there are two possibilities. Either A is 0 and B is some other number, or B is 0 and A is some other number. In fact, there is third possibility also. Both are 0. That is also one of the possibilities. So what we can do here is that we can apply the same logic here. Either this is 0. Now, if this is 0, then it will satisfy this equation, because 0 into anything is equal to 0. So it is equal to RHS, that is 0 given. If x minus 1 is equal to 0, it implies that the value of x is 1. And what were we finding? We were finding the value of x. That's the meaning of solving any quadratic equation or any equation which has a variable, right? Solution of quadratic equation means what? Root. So can I say x is equal to 1 is one of the root. Similarly, this can also be 0. If this is 0, then also it is satisfying the equation. So if x minus 2 is equal to 0, we'll be getting the value of x equal to 2. This is also the root or solution. So for this quadratic equation, we have two solutions. One is 1 and the other one is 2. Right? Clear? So from here, we can compare the previous. We can see that here also we have got the same values of x. Clearly, this method splitting the middle term is far better than the previous one, right? So let us do a couple of examples so that you can clearly understand that what do I mean by splitting middle term. So I have just taken one example here, that is, if the quadratic equation is 6x square minus x minus of 2 equal to 0. You have to find the roots of this quadratic equation by using middle term split, right? Just pause the video and try it on your own. Then proceed with the video. Okay, I hope you have done that. Again, what we'll be doing is that we have to ensure that the middle term minus x should be broken into two parts such that their sum is equal to minus x for sure, and their product should be equal to product of these two. So 6x square multiplied by 2 is equal to 12x square. That should be the product. Now here the trick is, don't try to find what should be the pair which will have sum as minus x. Focus on the product. How do you break? How do you break? Sorry, this is minus 2, guys, right? This is minus 2. So this will be minus of 12. How do you break this such that their product is minus 12x square and their sum is minus x? So 12 has a factor of 3 and 4. So if I take 3x and 4x, their product will be 12x square. It is not minus 12x square. So one of them I have to take minus 3x and the other I can take positive, or I can take 3 of x and minus 4 of x. I could have taken this also, no? 2 of x minus 6x or minus 6x, 2 of x. Out of this, you'll find that this pair is giving me that their sum is equal to minus x, right? So this is how we have to break it. This is the trick. You have to focus on the product, because factoring the thing is easier compared to finding any two number whose sum is a given number, because there are many possibilities for it, but factor don't have too many possibilities, right? Once we have identified, then definitely 6x square minus x minus 2 equal to 0. What we can do is that we can write it as this minus 6x entirely can be written as 3 of x minus of 4 of x. This entire thing is nothing but equal to minus of x, as we can see. Minus of 2 is equal to 0. For simplicity, I'm just removing the brackets. Correct? Then again, what is common? Whatever is common, take it out. 3 is common because 6 is a multiple of 3. X is also common. So we can take out 3 of x outside. What should be writing here so that I'll be getting 6x square. So 2 for 6, I need 2. For x square, I need 1 more x. This I can have plus 1. You can see that this when multiplied by this, I'll be getting this. 3x multiplied with 1, I'll be getting 3 of x. I should be getting the same thing here also, right? What should I write here so that I should be getting minus 4x and minus 2? It is quite obvious that I should be writing minus 2. Minus 2 into 2 of x will give me minus 4x, and minus 2 into 1 will be giving me minus 2, and that should be equal to 0, right? If you are getting confused here, what you can do is that just try to figure out, after doing this, do the same logic. Take out the common. Minus 4x and minus 2. Here minus 2 is common. So what is left? 2 of x and plus 1. You'll be getting the same thing, right? Again, for these two terms, 2x plus 1 is common. So we can say that 2x plus 1 we can take out, and we are left with 3 of x minus of 2, and that is equal to 0. So we have got in that format wherein we have factorized this quadratic equation. Once we have factorized, of course, we know that each one of them should be equal to 0, and then we'll be getting the value of x. So if 2 of x plus 1 is equal to 0, I'll be getting the value of x, which is equal to what? Minus 1 by 2. Minus 1 by 2. I've taken 1 on the RHS, so it will become minus 1. Then I'm dividing it by 2. Similarly, if 3x minus 2 is equal to 0, it implies that 3 of x should be equal to 2, or it implies that the value of x is 2 by 3. So we have found the two solutions. One is minus 1 by 2 and the other is 2 by 3. So these are called roots of this equation. Fair enough, right? So you have understood that what is the method wherein we use middle term split to get the roots. Let's take one more example, because I want to give you one important concept regarding quadratic equation. X square minus of 2x plus 1 equal to 0, right? Pause the video, use this splitting middle term method and get the roots. Okay, I hope you must have done it and you would be slightly surprised. Let's see. We have to get the product of this. So x square into 1 is x, and the sum is minus of 2x. Can I say clearly this can be broken as x into x or minus x into minus x? This is satisfying this, that their sum will be equal to minus 2x. So x square minus of 2x plus 1 equal to 0. This term will be can be written as minus x into minus x minus of x plus of 1 equal to 0. Taking x common from here, I'll be getting x minus 1. Again, taking 1 common here, I'll be getting x minus of 1 equal to 0. Again, x minus 1 is common. Here again, x minus 1 comes out. We are getting x minus 1 whole square is equal to 0. Till now, for the previous two examples, we have got two roots. Here, we are getting only one root. There is only one way. Either you take this 0 or this 0, one of the same thing, because x minus 1 should be equal to 0. So I'm getting the value of x to be 1. So there is only one root, or for practical purpose, the root is 1. Mathematically, we say that there are two roots. 1 and 1 both are repeating, right? So even if you don't do this, if you just say that there is only one root, that is x equal to 1, that is also correct. There is no harm, nothing, no problem into it. So why only one root? Why not two root? If you go to the previous this, once I introduced the quadratic equation, I told you the maximum solution for quadratic equation is having two roots. That means it can have one root also, right? Less than two roots is also possible. Is it possible that any quadratic equation has zero root? Yes. I'm writing that quadratic equation. I'll not be solving for the roots because they have no roots. Why they have no roots? We'll be dealing it once we read the graph of quadratic equation, right? For time being, I'm just writing that root. You can try on your own to figure out whether there is any root. Any root in the sense real root. Real number. The roots would be real number, right? You can just mark this x square plus x plus 1 equal to 0 and just give 5-10 minutes and try to figure out by splitting the middle term, etc., etc. You will find that there is no possibility of splitting into two middle terms, right? So just mark it. We'll be coming to this kind of quadratic equation once we'll be dealing with the graphical representation of quadratic equation. For this, till now we have understood that what is quadratic equation. If there is a quadratic equation, the solution of quadratic equation is called the roots. How many possible roots are there? Maximum there are two roots possible. Usually you'll be getting two roots, but yes, less than one root is also possible. And there can be, there are quadratic equation wherein there are no roots possible, no real roots possible, I would say, right? The technically I should be very correct. There are no real roots. The roots are complex number or imaginary number beyond the scope of this particular video, I would say, right? So don't worry much about it. Okay. Now, the problem is there is a problem with splitting the middle term also. It's not like that it will not work, but the problem is that if the coefficients are complicated, let me take an example. Say 3x square minus under root of 6x plus 2 is equal to 0. Here, under root of 6 is the middle term, right? The product of the first term and the last term is 6x square. You have to split it in such a way that the summation should be under root of 6x. Fair enough, right? And their product should be what? 6x square. Now here we have to use a bit of our understanding about irrational numbers, surds, etc. We can say that one way is having minus, I think I have taken it, this should be 2 guys, right? So please make it a correction. This should be 2. So I should break it into two parts so that their sum should be minus of 2 root of x. So one way, in fact, the only way is this. This is the only way. Split into minus root 6x minus root 6x. So that when we combine, both are like terms. So you'll be getting minus 2 of x. But splitting this way, wherein surds are also involved, is slightly complicated. That's the reason, as I said, that splitting the middle term is not the best way. We'll come to the best way. But yes, it usually works when the coefficients are easy. Here the coefficient is surds or irrational numbers. So obviously I don't recommend, but we can do. Once we have done that, then definitely we can split the middle term as root 6 of x minus root 6 of x plus of 2 equal to 0. Now again, we have to find common between these two, right? So here, this is x square. This can be written as root of 3 into root of 2 because 6 is equal to 3 into 2. So we can just break. I'm applying all the logics of laws of indices, if you remember, right? Into x. Here again, I can write it as root of 2 into root of 3x plus this 2 can further be written as root 2 into root 2 equal to 0. So such kind of effort I have to make so that something common should be taken out. Again, from here, I can write this as root 3 into root 3. The common thing here is root 3x is common. We are left with root 3x minus root of 2. Correct? Here, root of 2 is common. We are left with root 3x plus of root of, sorry, this minus and minus will make it plus. So instead of plus here, it should be minus of root of 2. This is equal to 0. Again, you can see that this is common. So we can take root of 3x minus of root 2. Correct? And here also root of 3x minus of root 2 is equal to 0. Both are same. So we'll be having only one equation. Correct? So root of 3x minus root of 2 whole square is equal to 0. That simply means that this root of 3x minus root of 2 should be equal to 0, or root of 3x should be equal to root of 2, or the value of x is root of 2 divided by root of 3, or more precisely we can say that this is root over 2 by 3. So this becomes the root, the only root possible. Here we can see that in this particular step, there is some complexity. If you can handle, you can do that. Correct? Now, the complexity can increase. So let's take the best way of getting the roots. That is direct formula. Nothing required. Just remember the formula, put the values. Every time you'll be getting the roots, irrespective of what is the complexity. So what is that formula? So that formula is for any quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. The two roots would be x. Roots mean the value of x would be minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac whole divided by 2a. I said there are two roots, but I'm writing only one formula. This formula contains both the roots. How? First, we'll be taking plus sign and next I'll be taking negative sign. So the first root will be with plus sign and the next root would be with the negative sign, right? For example, if say the first root is say x1, then it would be minus b plus of under root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. And the second root would be minus b minus of under root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Correct? This is how the formula for finding the roots of quadratic equation is written. Fair enough, right? Now, how do I apply the formula? So let's take all those examples which we have taken. So initially I took the example as x square minus 3x plus 2 equal to 0. Correct? I have to compare each of these terms with each of the corresponding terms from the generic uh, format of quadratic equation. X square is given, x square is given. What is a? Nothing is multiplied with x square. What does it mean? Does it mean 0? No. If it is 0, then it would get vanished, because 0 multiplied by anything, it will remove that term itself. Here it is 1. If nothing is written, it is understood this is 1. So by comparing, we can say that the value of a is 1. Right? So this is the process we have to follow. We have to compare and get the corresponding values of a, b, and c. Again, comparing this, we can say that the value of b has to be minus 3. Please remember that here it is plus and here it is minus. So b should be replaced with minus. Then only here it will become minus 3x. And at last, c is equal to 2. We have to substitute these values in this particular formula to get the corresponding roots. Let's see. So the value of x minus b in this is minus of minus 3 plus minus under root of square of b minus 4 times of a. What is a? 1. What is c? 2. Whole divided by 2 times of a. Correct? Minus of minus 3 will make it 3 plus minus. Here I'll be getting minus 3 whole square is nothing but 3 square, because minus into minus will make it positive. So here it is 9 minus 4 into 1 into 2 is 8. Whole divided by 2. Again 3 plus minus 9 minus 8 is 1 divided by 2. So 3 plus minus 1, because under root of 1 is 1 divided by 2. So the two roots are, if I take the first positive root, then it would be 3 plus 1 divided by 2, which makes it 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And next, if I take the negative sign, then it will be 1. These were the roots, right? So direct application of formula do not put any kind of load in our mind that how do I split, etc., etc. It will give me the answer, right? Let's take the other example which we have taken. I've taken, let me take the last example. I think I have taken this example of 3x, the second last example. 6x square minus of x minus of 2 equal to 0. Again, comparing it with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, we'll be getting the value of a as 6. We'll be getting the value of b as minus 1, because here minus x means what? The coefficient of x is 1. And the value of c is minus of 2. Do take care of their sign, right? Because if you just make any mistakes in sign, you will not be getting the correct roots, right? You'll be getting some values of x, but you'll not be getting the values of correct roots. So here, the roots are minus b. So minus of minus 1, right? The formula is minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac whole divided by 2 plus minus under root of minus 1 whole square minus of 4 into 6 into minus of 2 whole divided by 2 into a. So this will become 1. This is also 1. Minus into minus will make it plus sign. This is 24 into 2 is 48 whole divided by 12. Again 1 plus minus. This will make it 49 divided by 12. Now what is root of 49? Root of 49 is 7. So 1 plus minus 7 divided by 12. So if I take plus 7 if I take, then it will be 1 plus 7 divided by 12, which is 8 by 12. We can reduce it to the simplest form. So both are multiple of 4, both numerator and denominator. So it will be 2 over 3. And if I take the negative values, then it will be 1 minus 7 divided by 12, correct? And that is equal to minus 6 divided by 12, or minus 2 by, minus 1 by 3. This will be 1, right? I think I got the same values if I'm not wrong. Yes, we got minus 1 by 2 and 2 by 3. So this is, oh, sorry. This is 6 by 12, right? So 6 by 12 is 1 by 2. So this is minus 1 by 2. Right. So I hope you have understood how the formula is used to get the roots. What is quadratic equation? And there are two methods, right? The first method is just, it's not a method, in fact, I would say, right? There are only two methods. And generally you have to apply the formula method. correct? So that's it for this video. This is the first video on quadratic equation. I'll be having the second video on quadratic equation wherein we'll be getting into the details of it, right? Thanks a lot.